You can take the guest room or move out. My mother said when my sister suddenly showed up with her husband. Great, if you're out by the weekend, Josie added brightly. I packed my things. Days later, her smug smile vanished, replaced by panic. She's lying. Mom, tell me she's lying. I'm Violet. I'm 28. For the past 5 years, I've lived with my mother in the house my father rebuilt just before he died. Dad died suddenly, heart failure. The house wasn't even finished. One week we were picking out tiles for the kitchen. The next, I sat beside Mom as she stared at the wall, barely able to move. The funeral was a rainy Friday. Josie flew in, sunglasses and silk scarf perfectly in place, cried, and left Sunday morning. I stayed. I stayed because someone had to. Mom was fragile. The mortgage wasn't paid. I felt responsible. I owed Dad that much. He loved Mom. Even when she snapped at him, he never raised his voice. She just needs more grace, he'd say. You girls take care of her. So I did. I gave up a promotion that would have sent me to Seattle. Turned down company housing with lower rent and a short commute. I stayed. And for what? To be reminded daily that I wasn't Josie. Josie, the golden child. Josie with perfect hair, a million-watt smile, Instagram perfect life. Josie, married at 22 to Brent, whose only talent was looking good in a blazer. She was the star. I was the background. You should wear more color, Violet, Mom said. Josie lights up a room. You look like jury duty. Or, why don't you date again? It's not too late. Even for someone like you. Even me. I gritted my teeth, paid the bills, cleaned the gutters, cooked dinners. I thought if I kept showing up, maybe Mom would see me. Maybe I'd finally be enough. Everything changed Thursday. I came home late, 2 hours behind schedule thanks to shipping delays, and walked into deja vu. Josie sprawled on the couch, tissues clutched in her lap. Brent sat scrolling his phone like he'd rather be anywhere else. Mom hovered with tea and cookies, treating them like royalty. Violet. Mom chirped. Guess who's back? I can see that, I said. What's happening? Brent lost his job, Josie sniffled. They downsized, my whole department gone. We're behind on rent. Landlord wants us out in 2 weeks. And we don't have anywhere to go, Mom added, already hugging Josie. So they were moving in. Wait. What? They need help, Violet. They're family. So am I said slowly. I live here. You'll figure it out, Mom said. You're good at that. Josie shrugged apologetically, smirk still lingering. Later, I pulled Mom aside. This house isn't big enough for 4. Where will they sleep? In your room, she said flatly. What? You can take the guest room or move out. Your choice. I'm not discussing it. I've always wanted Josie back. She belongs. I pay the mortgage. You've acted like you're doing me a favor, but you weren't. You were a mess after Dad died. Now I have Josie. I don't need you. It hit me like a punch. Next morning, Josie knocked cheerfully. Mom says if you could be out by Saturday, that'd be great. Brent and I need this space. Come on, it'll be a fresh start. I shut the door. I sat on the bed, staring at the floor. On the shelf, a manila folder from HR, untouched for months. Inside, the company housing offer I declined to care for Mom. Studio apartment. Clean. Safe. Close to work. Move-in bonus. No guilt. No screaming. No Josie. I called. By Friday, transfer approved, keys secured, movers scheduled. I packed quietly. No one offered help. No one asked why. They were busy planning Josie's welcome home barbecue. Josie wanted to repaint the kitchen. Brent wanted a new couch. Saturday morning, breeze rustling the blinds, I stood in the driveway, clipboard in hand, truck arriving. Movers looked at the stack of boxes. You ready? One asked. Yeah, I said, exhaling. Let's do this. We loaded everything, bed, bookshelves, coffee maker, desk, dishes. Every box made me lighter, stronger, free. By early afternoon, we were almost done. One mover paused, glanced at the empty room. You're really taking everything? I smiled calmly. Yes. Everything. By the time the truck left, the house I called home was hollow. Dust outlines where furniture had been. Everything I bought with my paycheck, delivered on days off, assembled by hand. All mine. Later, handing in the keys to staff housing, I could hardly believe it. Studio apartment, small, bright, quiet, clean. Fridge didn't hum ominously. Guilt and chaos left behind. I'd finally moved on. The water hit just right. No fights over the bathroom, no yelling over schedules. I sank onto the mattress and exhaled like I'd been holding my breath for years. That night, I ignored the buzzing phone, missed calls, voicemails, messages from Mom, then Josie, then Brent. Anger, confusion, a few desperate pleas, but I didn't touch it. I turned the phone off, made tea, and watched city lights flicker from my tiny balcony. By Monday, they found me at work. Front desk called down. Violet, your mom's here, and your sister. I almost laughed. I hadn't even told them my address. I stayed hidden in the loading bay until they left. No confrontation on my turf. That evening, I swung by the house. Sure enough, the porch light was on, the living room dark. I knocked once, then let myself in with the spare key I'd never returned. Mom and Josie were in the kitchen, arms crossed, faces stormy. Mom started, "What the hell did you do?" I stayed calm. "What are you talking about? You cleaned the place out. Nothing's left. No fridge, no table, not even the toaster." "That was mine," I said. "Bought it like I bought everything else." Josie stepped forward, brow furrowed. "You can't just take things without permission." "I didn't. You assumed they were yours. That doesn't make it true." Mom snapped, "We didn't think you'd take literally everything." I opened my hands. "What exactly did you expect?" Josie muttered, quiet but sharp. "The house feels empty, depressing." I raised an eyebrow. "Oh, I'm sorry. Is the house I paid for not enough without my things?" Josie's eyes narrowed. "What about the bank account?" I blinked. "What?" "The joint account. Dad's insurance money. It was there." I exhaled softly, already seeing the trap. "That money's gone. Years ago. I've covered the mortgage for the last 4 years alone." Josie froze. "No, there was a ton left. I saw it. Like 40,000. That wasn't insurance. That was my savings. I used it to supplement the mortgage and utilities." "You weren't on the deed. None of this was yours." Mom looked stricken. Josie spun to her. "Is she lying?" Mom stayed silent. Josie's fists clenched. "You told me the money was there. That we could get back on our feet." "You came back for money," I said flatly. "Not family. Not love. Money." Josie turned, fury raw. "You think I wanted to sleep in my childhood bed? Brent and I are drowning in debt. Fired 2 months ago, maxed out credit cards. We came back for money." Mom tried to speak, but Josie cut her off. "I meant it. I wouldn't be here if you hadn't promised money. You left me with exactly what you gave me." "Nothing," I said. Josie whispered, crushed. "The insurance money was supposed to be shared." "You mean the money you never paid into? The money you never earned?" "That's not my problem." Josie spun back to Mom. "You said it was there." Mom's voice barely audible. "I thought we'd figure it out later." "Later. Always later," I said. "You told me to come home because you missed having someone to control. You never cared about what I needed." I watched them unravel. Josie pacing, Mom stammering, both realizing simultaneously, there was no plan, only delusion. Josie's voice dropped to a desperate whisper. "You said we could use that money to start over." "There is no money," I said flatly. "Hasn't been for years." Her face crumpled, like a child realizing Christmas was fake. "What about the file folder?" "All gone. Mom used most of it to redo the bathroom and kitchen." "That Lexus you got?" "From her savings." "The insurance money?" "I kept the receipts." Josie turned to Mom. Silence. I shook my head. "You came back expecting comfort, backup, cash. Got a house empty of possessions, mountains of debt, and no one to blame but yourselves. Mom sat at the kitchen table, pale, fingers laced, trying to piece it together. What are we supposed to do now? Cover your mortgage. 6 more years. Payments aren't bad, unless you're unemployed and broke. Josie snapped, I don't expect anything. Just wanted the facts. You came back for money, I repeated. Not family. Not love. You built your hopes on a lie. Oh, and you're a saint, she shot back. No, I stayed for years. Paid for groceries, gas, medical bills, renovations. Gave you my 20s. You threw me out the second she returned. I didn't abandon her. She traded me. Mom flinched. Josie masked shock with anger. I can't believe you're walking away. You should be grateful. I could have taken the savings before I left. But I didn't. I still had decency. Mom whispered, you're cruel. No, I'm free. I walked to the door. Josie snapped, good. We don't need you. I'll figure something out. Brent's talking to a guy about a job. Gambling's a tough industry, I said without looking back. I stopped at the threshold. Take care of each other. You wanted her, Mother. Now live with her. I left. The door clicked behind me, a sound that sealed years of pain and pressure. For weeks later, I heard the house went on the market, sold for less than expected. Josie works part-time at a bakery. Mom does admin at a dentist's office. Brent never got the job. My apartment is modest but mine. Furniture mismatched, but cozy. I cook what I want, drink cappuccino in peace, sleep through the night. My manager offered me a lead position last week. I said yes. They thought I was disposable. I wasn't. I was the one holding it together. Now, they have each other. I have everything else: freedom, solitude, stability, and the life I chose.